Hey, Aries.
Aries, do I look like a baboon to you?
Well, who are you?
I'm the one to call some shots.
Got yourself a gun.
Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the it is?
Aries and Andy. Chew and the jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut, cold. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this before you was on your mama.
Aries Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism. Much love to my loyal bag holders.
Rollers, loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
So it's no wonder what you and I are going to be discussing today. And I know many of you guys have already seen it, already done your homework. Because Lord knows you asked me, you mentioned it to me via social media. And I told you guys we were going to watch it and couldn't wait to watch it once I knew that it was watchable. Wise Guys, the David Chase documentary, a.k.a. the documentary of the greatest show to ever live.
The Sopranos.
That's a lot. It's the greatest?
It's the greatest in my book. Dude, I didn't know. Notice we giving y'all no appetizers. This is straight manigat. We giving you the straight, no charcuterie board. Is that how you say it? Charcuterie?
Charcuterie.
Charcuterie sound like a black from the ghetto. What's your name here? Charcuterie.
No appetizers.
That's because we're going to do it different this week. That's why.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Let them know. Let them know.
Okay, so today we're going to be doing the regular podcast, and we're doing Wise Guys, obviously the David Chase story. This is the creator of The Sopranos. And tomorrow we're not going to be doing emails. We're going to do the debate. We're going over the debate.
Yeah, we were originally going to do like we normally do. We were going to do the David Chase thing today, Wednesday, and then do emails Thursday. But we felt like, dude, because of the debate and because the Chase thing just came out, we wanted to be timely. So we figured we'd
we whacked two with one bullet.
We figured we'd talk about The Sopranos on Wednesday. And then, as Andy said, the debate on Thursday. That way, we're timely.
Somewhat timely. The debate's been gone over, but we haven't.
The food's still warm.
Yeah, we haven't.
It ain't
gone
cold
over.
yet.
Yeah.
But when you serve the fucking manigat, you gotta serve it fresh from bodies with the steam coming off the fucking gravy.
So we wanted to be timely in that way. That being said, dude, I didn't know so much of this show was pulled from his personal life. Like, it really was. He used a lot of his own personal background to layer the show with.
Well, what I didn't know, and it was interesting, is like I didn't know what a key player he was though as a showrunner before.
Right, me too.
And so that being said, then knowing that he's in the business and he's telling these stories about his life, and there people are saying you got to write something about your mom and you,
which is where the mother character comes from.
And
it's his mother.
Yeah, and to do that, and then have him have the wherewithal to go, who wants to see a show about a regular guy, but if he was a badass,
right?
And that's what he figured out. That's what made it come together.
Right.
And then the direction of that, and that's the creativity part. That's what makes this work. Because you're right. If I have a different opinion about this documentary than you did, but not opinion so much. But I wasn't as moved by it as you are. You're very Sopranos, and I get that. But I see that I would not have been moved at all if he didn't come up with something like that. This wasn't to do this story. He figured out the way to do it, and that's the creative side. So he is a creative.
Well, that to me really is the creative genius, is because you talk about one of the hardest things to do in Hollywood is to do what's never been done before, and to not repeat what we've already seen. We've seen a million mob movies, but to make part of it the psychoanalysis. Him seeing a shrink, which is original because that spawned analyze this, analyze that.
Well, it's the genius of putting it together. All those elements, like a tough guy, he's a mobster. He wants to go to a therapist, but there's stigma to it. But not enough stigma that that's a story. But if the guy's a mobster and he's going, I mean, all those little details.
It's the element of the mob family. Like usually when you see a mob movie, it's one and done, and it's just straight mob. He's just killing and killing and killing, and the crime and the racketeering. But there's elements of, yes, Tony's a monster, but he's also a father. He's also a husband that deals with the complexities of marriage and fatherhood, and then being a mob guy and going to see a shrink and the psychoanalysis. So there's layers to something that we've never seen. And then when you've always said certain things that we've talked about, movies, and you went, it would have done this more justice to have been a series.
Yeah.
Because with a series, you can dive deeper and more so into different avenues than just an hour and a half to 2 hours on screen of one thing. And then that's it.
And that's what he talks about when he wrote the first pilot. It was not the pilot, but when he wrote it as a movie, and then he looked at it, and then he changed it, and he went and he types pilot out there,
Right?
Because that's the end. The movie would have been the beginning of how this it would have been the first episode. It would have had more detail. You would have gotten more bonded with the characters, but it would have been over in less than 2 hours.
Right.
To do a series, and so you can really develop the character, so you could there. You know what? And that's kind of funny how it has changed, and they talk about it a little bit. Actors now want to be on TV more so than in movies, and it's changed because of the way that we consume entertainment. We used to go to the movies. We used to sit in a room with a lot of other people. It was great to go into the big screen, but then we had a pandemic. We were at home. We were locked up, and we got used to. We don't only have a 20-inch TV anymore. We have
movie theaters in our
houses. Yeah, maybe not huge, but movie theaters got smaller. So they kind of merged together a little bit. And then during the pandemic, you couldn't go, and so we're ingesting entertainment in a different way. And now we have streaming, and everything can get to us sooner. So, yeah, being on TV makes sense, and you can tell a story that people want to see daily. A movie, it's over 2 hours. Now we're talking about this. We're talking about, I can't wait to see next week.
Right.
That's a whole different kind of feeling.
Well, I think the pandemic solidified it, but I think well before then, the 90s was the big boom as far as Showtime and particularly HBO. And the stigma that was on back in the day, it was like, yeah, if you were a movie star and you were beneath, you're a TV star. I'm a movie star. But well into the 90s, because of The Sopranos and because of shows like Breaking Bad, that stigma was starting to become less and less.
Yes.
So a lot of big time actors were like, yo, there's a change happening. I think the pandemic just pushed it for sure into that direction.
The pandemic, but the stigma didn't. I don't know that the stigma went away as far as the art form. People look at the art form, but I think the stigma went away when they found out if you do 120 episodes, that you you want to finish that?
Money, 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 money.
Yeah, it's a difference between getting, even if you're a top-rated actor, getting $20 million for a movie,
right,
and being on a hit show, and then when it goes into syndication, now you're talking about hundreds of millions.
Right.
So that's the change too. That made a big deal.
Yeah, there you go, you Jew, fuck you.
Yeah, but that it wasn't the Jews that changed. It was the actors changed that.
Right.
But the creativity, the writing, like I said, we've talked about this before. Some of the shows that are on regular television, they're cable channels, but they follow the same rules as television, where they're not cussing. Sons of Anarchy was a great one. It's still horrible, but written for TV. And so I think the writing got better. It got more experimental. Everything changed. And then the pandemic happens, and then now the consumer changed. Once the Hollywood was moving that direction because of because of the abilities that they could do and produce and the money, but then the pandemic changed the consumer.
It's funny because, and this is why I love documentaries so much, is because you're peeling the onion so much that you just learn things. Like I said to myself, David Chase had a love for film, but do we know him for anything else other than The Sopranos? Didn't know he was involved in so much episodic television. Yeah. And they pointed out one show, and I went, well, it really felt like in the 70s, anything would go. The show with Bill Bixby. Where, how do you solve crimes with magic, nigga? That seems like such a 70s type of show.
Yeah, well...
and he was one of the writers and showrunners.
And this is the other crazy part about what you're saying. There was only 3 channels in the 70s. There was only so many hours that you had to fill.
Yeah.
And this is the best they could do.
a magician detective.
It was weak, but 70s to me formed television for me.
Yeah.
Happy Days. I'm a little kid. It's
Right.
the 50s. The Fonz. The Fonz to me is
Happy
still.
Days was only happy for white folks in the 50s.
They didn't tell me that when I was a kid. All I knew was the Fonz. The Fonz, who's the greaser, the biker, the
Hey.
But they made his character fun, and if he was portrayed a different way, like what a biker, like a hoodlum would have been portrayed,
Right.
it would have been a different story. They made it so apple pie and friendly,
Yeah.
and so, I mean. Fonzie isn't that different from Richie Cunningham, to be honest. He just drives a motorcycle and wears a leather jacket, and he gets a lot more girls.
Yeah.
So it was this that was the beginning where I used to come home. It would end. I remember. I think it was Tuesday nights. I'm not sure about the night, but it would end, and then I'd be going. The best part about it is you would have to wait a whole week to see it again, and. For you, that's terrible because you talk about how you wait you'll wait a month or 2 months before
Right.
so that you can see the whole thing.
Yeah.
But it was something that you weren't able just to have what you wanted right away, and that was kind of interesting. That was the way we lived a little bit. That is a difference between yesterday and today.
And there was no VCR, so if you missed it, you missed it.
Yeah, and you didn't get it till the summertime,
Right.
when they went to reruns.
Right. And by that time, you was either vacationing or if you was poor, you was home to watch it.
Yeah, and as kids, we actually went outside. So if it was on TV and you might have been over at your friend's house because it's
You missed it
summertime,
again.
You missed it again.
Here's a fun TV trivia fact that I'm sure you didn't know. Did you know that when they created Happy Days, they actually did another show, a black version of Happy Days about the 50s. Do you know what it was called?
No,
Nappy Days.
Happy Days.
Boom, boom.
There was a black character on Happy Days.
Where? When?
It was only one episode. There he came in. He was walking through the town or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they never saw that again. How'd you feel about the way it was put together, especially the opening of the documentary, where they did some Sopranos mixed in with
I think again, subtlety means a lot to me, and there was this genius moment where they're doing basically the intro to The Sopranos, and you look over and it's David Chase, but you see him kind of as Tony, and that's the point. You kind of see him so that you know what the direction of this is, and it was good. But I hate to say it, but that intro, get yourself,
got yourself a gun. Yeah.
It's so much. I've heard it, and it's
I've
still
never heard it.
and it's still like on everything, and I'm mad at it because I did I did my own little amateur recreation years ago. This had to be 10 years ago. Was it probably about 10 years ago? And I took you to the Soprano house because I know where it is out here.
In Pizza Land.
Yeah, but I did this whole thing where we drove on the freeway, we did everything, and we're in Tara's car, and I put on the CD track of that, and I'm listening to it while we're driving, and it cuts back to me, and I'm listening to the music, and we're going down, and I'm like, and then we timed it. I said, because I would tell Tara, just kind of, where it's going to end. Just make sure we get here at this time. And I didn't do any editing or anything. It's just me, and then she pulls up, and right at the house is just, and does that part, and she pulls right up, and then it ends, and you just look, and I'm sitting there smiling. They took it away from me. They took the video away, and they gave it to put it under the people that own the music.
Really?
Yeah, and I wasn't.
YouTube did?
Yeah, YouTube, because.
Oh, wow.
So I'm still mad at that song. It's not their fault. They deserved
Right.
it, but I'm the one who created. I went back and created, and it wasn't his exact Sopranos route either.
Right.
And they didn't give it to the Sopranos or David Chase. They gave it to the music guys.
Yeah.
The music was important to it though, so I get it, but it still leaves a.
Just so you know, it wasn't YouTube. I made sure you took it from you. I gotta get the rights. I own it. It's my house. You're lucky I don't chop your Junos off and stab you in the throat with it.
I just imagine those poor people. I took you over there. I did that video.
Yeah.
I went over there a time before that too. Can you just imagine when people find out where it is, how many people throughout all these years have just stopped it? And we stopped, we parked, we walked around.
But we didn't go in the driveway.
No.
I wanted to get to the door, dude.
No, but the best part of this, and it's on the podcast, we talked about it right afterwards. Aries gets out. He wants to talk about it on his on Instagram. He's recording, and the guys next door have the leaf blowers out, and they're doing yard work. And these are big houses and big yards.
Yeah.
Aries went out there and told him to shut it off.
Hey, man, I'm recording some important shit here. You know whose house it is? Turn your leaf blowers off, goddammit. Like so many things and so many docs that I've watched about groundbreaking, iconic shows, one of the through lines, and you know this is always gets in my craw, is you hear about, you think that something this successful, everybody was chomping at the bit to do it. No. They said pretty much everywhere they went, with the exception until they got to HBO, turn this show down. And I said, what is it, and I'm asking you, what is it that you think, what is it you would say that would make you, I'm having a me moment. What is it you would say that would make what is it that you would say that would make all the other networks say no to it? If you have a high position job as someone who is supposed to have an eye for unique talent and unique ideas and unique shows, how is it that every network says no to something like this that obviously was a game changer and groundbreaking? So if you are the head of ABC, NBC, Fox, CBS, all these networks, and your job title is to be the Jerry Krause of the network, find the gem, the hidden gem, the diamond in the rough, the talent, how do you keep your job? Your job is to be able to see uniqueness, greatness, and you guys didn't see it?
That's not their job.
But that is their job.
No, it's not their job.
What's their job?
Their job is to repeat something that's successful, because that's all they do.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
That's all they do. That's their job. Is build off what's already successful and keep building it. And then someone takes someone who grabs their nuts, throws the on the table, and says, "I think this is it," and they make that change. They're the visionaries, the business people.
But you just said it. Their job is supposed to be. It says it in their title. Their job is to be visionaries.
They're creative development, but they're just developing whatever else has been created. They don't want to make a mistake. They're not putting their neck on the line.
It's a farce.
Hey man, if you could
you're being paid to be a farce.
That's what the business is.
Boo!
But all it is people doing something similar to what someone else did that was successful.
So originality.
Originality has nothing to do with it. How much does it make? You know that's the deal. How much does it make? I have to pay you to be on the show. How much is it going to make me? Because I have to pay you X amount of dollars. I'm going to put up millions of dollars. How much is it going to make me so that I can keep my job?
But here's the sweet karma about that. No one's willing to, as you say, grab their nuts and take the chance. But the person who takes the chance, a la HBO, reaps the biggest rewards.
But they didn't have it. It was different because they didn't have really anything at risk. They wanted to get in this business, and not that many people wanted to be in business with HBO because they thought they were going to get lost. Because it's not like where you come home and CBS advertises on Thursday at 8:00, such and such, and they have it all week long, and they're following the news and saying the show's going to come out. These guys, you can get lost on HBO, and it wasn't at a time when you like Sex and the City. And it came on at a certain time every single week in a new episode.
Sundays, yeah.
But where was the promotion for it on regular TV? Where was it on?
There is none.
None. So it gets lost. It can get lost because there's no news lead in.
But cable is based on subscriptions, not advertising.
I understand that. But back in the day when HBO had, and remember, HBO had one channel that you really got, and two, they had then they had the West Coast, they had the East Coast to West Coast at one time. They had HBO and HBO 2, I think is what they had.
Yeah.
And so they had two channels.
And they said they really only were known for boxing, and I forget the other thing.
I don't remember.
It was boxing and something. Boxing and movies.
Yeah.
Movies, not series.
Yeah, movies.
Right.
So, you could get lost easily. So these little one-offs, no one cared about them.
Right.
No one cared about the major networks didn't care about them. Like I said, major networks can use their news stations. They can use their sports programming. Yeah, they could use boxing, but that's not a weekly buildup to something.
Right.
So this was really out of the element, and they took a chance on it. I think it's genius. But remember, I want to just make this thing about Les Moonves, and I think Moonves was he at CBS at this time?
CBS. And Les Moonves was where I had my. He was the president of CBS when I had my deal.
He was
over there.
also at NBC at one time.
Right.
He went to CBS. But I love the part where he goes, "So, are you married to him taking Prozac?" It wasn't the gangsters. It wasn't the killings. It wasn't anything. It was, "Are you married to him taking Prozac?" And for whatever reason, that was shunned. For whatever reason, that they're going to have this character that's taking Prozac.
Right.
I think that's interesting. That people have power, and then they have an opinion that I don't know if I want a character on TV that takes Prozac.
But again, that was one of the layers to the lasagna that made it Genius.
Amazing, but you have to see genius through the genius's eye. And if you're not a genius, how can you look through that eye?
You know who I am. I'm a goddamn genius. And dude, I went also given what the criteria was for what that show had to be in its truth. How glad are we that other networks did say no?
Oh.
Because for regular network television, they would have been basically this podcast, censorship.
Yeah.
We did a skit on Mad TV about The Sopranos where, remember the network PAX?
Yeah.
PAX was network TV, but almost Christian-like. So we did a skit about The Sopranos where the Sopranos went into syndication on PAX. But because of how censored PAX was, each episode was 2 minutes. So you get to, you know what I'm saying? So when we did the skit, it was PAX Network premieres The Sopranos. And we did the whole Sopranos episode, but the hour got trimmed to 2 minutes. So it was just cut after cut, bleep after bleep. And I just went, yeah, you put The Sopranos on network television, there's no magic.
You know what? I would like to see, it would be fun to see of a writer, like an FX writer that was writing, the other series.
The Shield, yeah.
All the shows that they've done. Get those guys together and write an episode, rewrite a Sopranos episode and see what it would feel like.
You know why you couldn't do it? Because as much as people have written into you and I about the Shield. You got to see the Shield. You got to see the Shield. And listen, I put that on my to-do list, and I still haven't gotten around to it, and I feel like I'm going to very slowly tiptoe my way to it, but here's where I'm going. I feel like, and this might be unfair to the Shield, but I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to go, because I'm going to measure it up to The Sopranos, and I'm going to go, nah, because on FX, can you show Ralphie beating the stripper to death? Can you show Melfi getting raped? Can you show well, the intervention with Chris was more funny than anything. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, can you go that far?
I think they could get pretty close on the stripper.
You lost me. You lost me. Pretty close.
On the stripper being beat to death. I don't. But here's my question, and this is it. If that same day, in that same day and time, I think they could have got right up there because I think there's things that have come out after that that are pretty close because you don't actually see the you see him swing.
No, here's what makes that graphic.
When he hits.
When you hear her head hit the metal.
That's the part I was going to say.
And then not only that, a couple of those punches were pretty, but then the gurgling.
Yeah.
As she's losing her life and getting beat, she's gurgling.
I think that would have been cut out, the gurgling.
See what I'm saying?
But that's what I questioned today. Would you hear the head hitting? Today, I don't think you would hear that. Back then, I think you could have got away
today,
with it.
you lose me with this moisture era. Out of here. Ralphie did a beat in and apologized after every punch. Bow, I'm sorry. Bow, I'm sorry. But even with Melfi, I'm going to tell you something with that rape episode. I don't really like watching that for two reasons. And that's in my notes and I'm jumping ahead, but for two reasons. One, I detest rape so much. And to me, it's such an awful violation of a woman's humanity that it's hard for me to watch rape scenes. Even when it was a good movie, but even if I'm, channel surfing and the accused comes on, that rape scene in the bar with all the gang rape in the bar as they're her on the pinball machine. So it's the graphic part about it that gets me. And two, she didn't tell Tony, which we all wanted.
I can't wait till we get to this.
But before we do,
because it's going to be in there.
But even that, and I hadn't remembered it till I saw the doc. Because when I saw that episode, I saw it once and never watched it again. And I resaw it when they showed this doc. But the way he rips her panties off and, you know what I'm saying, in the stairwell, it's just too much for me. And that's why I'm going, on an FX, you go, they'll get close to it. Close to it ain't it. Like Sean Connery said in the movie The Rock with Nick Cage, you'll do your best. The prom queen doesn't the second best. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're giving me...
I want you to do that again, though, because that was your worst Sean Connery.
No, I wasn't even trying.
Yeah, I know.
No. But the only way I even come is when I go, the last one. because I'm really imitating Pat Kilbane when he did Shottery on a skit we did called "Scared Straight Anywhere." But yeah, I don't do it.
Sean Connery. Okay.
Yeah. The prom queen. Yeah. I just, but yeah, man. So I'm going, you're going to take me close to it. And now I'm going to compare you to the show that doesn't take me close. It goes through it.
Yeah, but see, I didn't like that. I didn't like that part of the episode at all.
Right.
Not because. Okay, you brought up the accused. Right. I'm going to say why that rape scene was good. I can't believe I'm like giving thumbs up to a rape scene. The rape scene was good because
Give it 2 up.
Because the rape is not about enjoyment. It's about demoralizing or taking away someone's power. And what in the accused, he's enjoying the fact that he's minimized her as a person. He's raping her in front of everyone, and he's getting.
What do you mean raping her? You talking about in front of the TV audience?
No, on the pinball machine. I'm talking about
Oh,
the
accused. Okay.
So he's taking away all of her power. It's disgust. It's rape. The joy that he's having, not in the rape. It's about how he can take everything away from her. And that when I watched the Soprano one, there's nothing. He does. There's a little bit of violence in there, but he looks like he's just like he's doing it because he wants to have sex. He wants to hurt and take away someone's humanity. That's what's going on in a rape, and that was kind of lost to me in that. It just looked like a rape scene. I really thought that could have been better because
A better rape?
I think that it lost it like, and I didn't like that it looked like someone who never had sex and is just wanting to have sex with someone. Yeah, he ripped her. I know he hit her. I would have liked to have seen it more angry, only because of this. No, only because.
But no, that feat. Go ahead. No.
But I would have liked to have seen it more angry so that it conveys what happened, not that this guy. Because then she sees him and he's at the
Employee of the month sign that he worked.
I want you to see he's the employee of the month there, but he's a dirty, downright horrible, violent rapist. Not, you know what I mean? I want you to hate that man more.
I did, and that's my issue. You make me hate it more. You make it more violent. I want that much more for Tony to know now.
So that's going to make that tension build even more.
Since we're on it, let me jump to it. This is what I love about Mayor of Kingstown. When something happens in Mayor of Kingstown where you go, man, I want Jeremy Renner's character to get his motherfucker to business. Jeremy gives the business. When I watch Mayor of Kingstown, I go, yo, this did what to who? Boy, wait till Jeremy Renner find out. And then he finds out and he gives you what you want. Dude, when I see that episode where Melfi gets raped and she goes, and this is peeling the onion. This is what I loved about this doc. She goes, when I read the script, I called Chase upset going, why? Why would you violate her? She's almost the one innocent, purest person in the show. And he goes to her, Lorraine Bracco, just read it. And then she reads it. And that's that moment. And I love it how they did it because the way it played out as we saw it, it was in the script. And Tony goes, what's your matter? Hey, you want to tell me something? You got something to say? And she, on her face, no. The script, it says, the end. I'm getting goosebumps, dude. Like, I in that moment, and it was funny because the whole time before they got to that moment, I'm watching the episode going, is she going to tell him? Is she going to tell him? And then as that moment is happening, I purposely look at the time, and I go, oh, she's not going to tell him because it's only literally 40 seconds left. So if this episode is over in 40 seconds, unless she's going to tell him, and then we see him deal with the guy in the next episode, but that ain't Chase-like. I'm going, she's not going to tell him because they about to end it. Man, I was just as mad as how they ended the series. I wanted to see Tony destroy that.
Well, I think, though, a couple things. One, I disagree with you. I think they could have done it in the next episode if he did tell her. Because now Tony has an issue. Yes, he wants to go and kill that guy. He's going to want to kill that guy.
Right.
But who is he killing for? Dr. Melfi. That opens up the door for why are you killing? What do you care that this woman? Who is this woman to you? Now this changes like his relationship with him, the crew, the people around him, knowing more about him in the therapy.
Right.
So there would still be tension there, and that would be an episode.
You might be right, because now you're going, okay, I can't wait. Now what is he going to do?
Dude, now
right.
and he has to do it if he finds out about it. So what other problems does that open up with him and his business?
Right.
That's the one thing that could have happened there. But I love how he explains it, though. And this is the point. If she tells him, she is no longer...
Yes. Now that is, Chase, they showed Gandolfini inside the actor studio. And I forget the host's name, but he goes, basically, what is it that you like about the show? And Gandolfini goes, the writing, the writing, the writing, the writing, the writing, the writing. That writing is so pivotal, because when I keep calling her Melfi, Lorraine Bracco goes, she knows if she tells him, then her 15 years of becoming a therapy are over. She's a gangster now.
Yeah, she had someone killed.
Right. So to not be a gangster, it was more important. She had to say no.
Yeah, and she's more of a gangster, because if she was to break down and she killed him herself, she's not a gangster.
What do you mean if she?
If let's say that she saw that where he worked,
Oh.
and let's say her rage built up,
Right.
and then she just runs him over with the car. Yeah. She's not a gangster. She's getting revenge for what's happened to her. She had a breakdown. She was an emotional human being. She broke down and she took the law into her own hands.
But I like where you're going with that. Like, she's not a gangster, but you don't think that still devalues who she is?
It showed her breaking point. It showed who she was. Like, you would
Right.
want, if you're, I don't want to use any
like a revenge killing.
A revenge killing, but it's because you're broken. They took something away from you. They took your humanity. They took something, and you acted out of true just emotion, not logic, not thought, not anything. If she, but wait, just wait. Think of what I'm saying. Now look at it. She says to Tony, she knows that she's wielding the knife that's going to kill him, because she knows that by saying that, now it's not my emotion. It's not anything. I said something that's going to put the knife against his throat and slit it.
But how is that any different from if in the moment of, let's say in the moment she's being raped, in that moment she snaps, and then let's say as the rapist was walking away, she picked up a weapon and stabbed him in the neck, versus what you're saying sounds premeditated. If it's so much after the fact, she goes, I'm so pissed that 2 days later I see him and I wait for him to get off work and hit him with my car. Well, now that's premeditated. You didn't snap. You had time to...
She goes over there and she sees his picture on there, and she sees that he's
okay. I see what you're saying.
He's the employee of the
Right,
month. Everybody
right.
thinks he's a great guy. She sits in her car. She's sitting there, and the guy comes out, and he has a big smile on his face after knowing what she did to, and she just floors the car and runs him over.
Right.
That's an emotional snap. This is like, she could still be a person, but she's going to be always. She'll have that forever. She's never going to be the same person she was before. But if she tells Tony, she's actually saying she might as well have paid for it, because she knows what the outcome's going to be. It's not just about just being broken. It's about the revenge, getting that revenge, having someone taken out for what they did to you. She knows that's what's going to happen. She can't do it. But she stayed the light. She stayed the light. She stayed the light, and that was the point. Oh, by the way, on the Lorraine Bracco thing, I've always thought her character, as I watched it, was it's simple. You just sit there and you say, well, what do you know, and how she. But then when she talks about
your mother, you're very angry at her.
But when she talks about who she is and how she had to play that, and is so away from not only who she is, but. That was amazing to me, because then I rewatched it. I don't know about you, but did you watch a lot of The Sopranos leading up on HBO to this?
Of course.
When you watch her character now, it took on a whole different thing to me. She is quite amazing how she pulled that off, and I like how they said about the hands. You got to keep your hands, because that kept her in check.
Right. This is the thing where I go when I talk about Nepo babies, and I go, people don't understand that aren't in this game, they're not in this hustle. When something is not your livelihood, and you have to, and you're not investing heart, soul, blood, sweat, tears, and then you're up against rent, mortgage, bills, kids, food on the table, clothes on your kids' back. This is how we eat, man. And I love seeing the audition process in the documentary because at one point, what's his name? Tony Sierra, whatever his name, a la Paulie.
Yeah.
He plays Paulie Gaultieri. They show him auditioning, and at one point he stops and he goes, "Let's do it again. I'm very tired, but let's do it again." Even with James Gandolfini, he goes in, he goes, "You know what? I'm not doing this right. I'm f***ing this up," and he needed a second.
And I love what he says. If you want me to come back, I'll come back tomorrow.
I'll come back tomorrow.
If you want me to come back.
If you want me to come back.
That's that. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Keep going.
and the thing is, dude, it's good to see that because as someone who auditions, you think it's just you. When you give a audition, you think it's just you. And when you flub a line and have to stop and go, "I'm sorry, can we do it again?" Which part for me is part of always the terror in auditioning. I'm so wanting to remember the lines that if I flub a line in my head, the whole thing, throw the whole audition away because I'm not perfect. And you think you have to be perfect and you don't. And listen, a lot of casting directors will say you could hold the script. You don't have to be off book. But they appreciate if you're off book. It's almost like, wow, this really did his homework. But you can hold the paper and look down and read with me. But if you're off book, the better. You look more professional. And the amount of torture that you go through the night before, you're learning your lines, you're going over, you're rehearsing. The drive to the audition, you're just beating yourself up. Make sure you don't flub that line, that part that I had trouble saying that one word. To sitting in the room, you're hearing other people in the room. Oh my God, they're doing it just like I was gonna do it. How do I quickly switch up and be different? To the actual audition where you got the bubble guts. Then when it's over, it's still not over. The drive home. Oh man, I flubbed that one line. I wonder if they're gonna call me. If they don't call me in 2 days, that means somebody else got the job. But that don't necessarily mean that because sometimes they take a week. Oh my God, what if I got a call back, but then it's a screen test? So you beat yourself up relentlessly. And to see a great actor in James Gandolfini have a moment where, damn, even he don't get it right. It's somewhat comforting. But then the discomfort comes from, well, if you're Denzel Washington's son or you're the offspring of a famous mom or dad, you skip all that. You skip that whole process. You go straight to the front of the line. You don't have to go through what we go through. And what's insulting to me is when people go, "Oh, violin, oh, you're on your soapbox." You're not in this hustle. You don't know the torture of everything I just said. So for you, this is not how you eat. This is not how you survive. This is not how you take care of your kids. This is not how you put money in your woman's pocketbook so the stay wet. So for you to say that, it's insulting. And people will say, well, life ain't fair. I know it ain't fair. I'm not looking for fair. I'm looking for respect. You know what I'm saying? I know it ain't fair. Just respect my hustle. And don't dismiss me by saying I'm on my soapbox and all, poor you, like Tony's mom. So I'm gonna let you have the floor, but I'm just saying, like, to Nepo babies, it pisses me off because you don't have to go through that. The grind, the hustle, the torture. You just automatically get the key to the city because of what your last name is.
Okay, but he still has to deliver.
He has to deliver, but my point is when the door is open for you, wide open, all you have to do is don't suck, and you got it. But you have to deliver, but your delivery, you have to deliver is different from I have to deliver. All you gotta do is, because your last name is Washington, don't stink. As long as you don't stink, you got this. Whereas for Joe Blow, motherfucker, jump through all 80 of these hoops.
But there's a lot of actors that have family. Let's put it this, there's a lot of actors in the business. They have kids, and the kids don't make it in the business. So it's not just about the open door. They have to have a skill level to get there as well. Yeah, it's easier because they didn't go in. I don't want to say even easier. They don't have to go in the same way that you do and be nervous about the day. They're relaxed. They might even know these a little bit better than you do. They get into the room, everything's comfortable, and they can deliver. But some of that tension makes you better. And if he does get the part, it's not. Then the side note is, he got it because his last name's Washington. That's hard within itself. That doesn't allow you.
Hard for who? The person that got it? The son? The sibling?
Yeah.
Out of here.
No,
That ain't
it is hard because
on
you
them.
don't feel like you're succeeding on your own merit. People do want to succeed. Michael Douglas. Is he a great actor?
Yes, he's one of the best.
The door was open for him because of Kirk Douglas.
Right. Okay, but very rarely that can happen, that your offspring is just as good as you, if not better. That could happen. Most times that ain't the case.
Well,
Most times that's not the case.
Well, the other thing is he also has to mature into being a great actor. When you're talking about that, Denzel wasn't the same actor he is today that he was 30 years ago.
No creative person is the same. They
So-
get
but
better. You evolve.
But you're rating him on his dad today, not his dad at the beginning of his career. He might be better than his dad at the beginning
I
of his
said
career.
this before when we brought him up when we talked about the Black Klansman. My thing is this: if you gonna have the same last name as who your mommy or daddy is, and they're known for greatness, they're at the upper echelon of greatness. You have to be at least as good, if not better. You can't have me watch your mama and your daddy, who is the best, and then be under that. If you ain't as good or better, then what am I praising? I've seen the best. So you got to give me that. You got to give me just as good or better. You can't give me less.
What did you think about the scene in Wall Street when Martin Sheen is acting with Charlie Sheen?
Thought it was great.
Did you think anyone outacted the other?
I think they went toe for toe.
But you didn't think Charlie Sheen? I mean, you didn't think that
Slightly
Martin,
better. Slightly better, yes.
Okay.
More seasoned, though.
Yeah.
But Charlie's a bad boy.
But you saw Charlie acting. You didn't see Martin Sheen acting. in that
Right?
scene.
No, they went toe for toe. Listen, it's a beautiful thing. I would imagine that as a parent, that would be almost like your dream. Like it's like Damon Wayans is about to do a sitcom, network sitcom with his son. Not only do you get to work with your offspring, which is awesome, but you keep the money in the family. So you know,
and they really keep the money in the family
oh hell yeah,
because they don't even do things the regular way.
no, they do it the Wayans way.
And it saves them 10% across the board.
Exactly.
No, 12% across the board.
Why you say 12?
I don't want to talk too much inside baseball, but they don't have an agent. They have an attorney.
Yes.
And they negotiated the deal with the attorney.
Let me tell you the great quote from Damon Wayans, because Damon doesn't have a manager or an agent. He does have an attorney. It's standard procedure for the agent to get 10%. Damon told his lawyer, "I'm gonna give you 5," and his lawyer goes, "Why not 10?" He goes, "5% of $5 million is better than 10% of nothing."
That's what I'm talking about.
The Wayans way.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's inside. That's stuff we know, and, I'm not trying to put their business out there. But yeah, when you have the power to negotiate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's brilliant.
It is.
When I heard that,
In the vein of what we're talking about, it's fucking gangster.
I didn't hear that from you originally either, and that's what's amazing. And I was like, damn,
Yeah, that's gangster.
they live in New York,
One of the most expensive places to live.
and you don't even know that they're there.
Gangster.
You know what I mean?
Gangster.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is. When you get the hit, you don't see it coming. It just happens. Gangster.
I find their family remarkable.
I find them remarkable in that way. I'm going to leave it there.
Okay, that's good enough.
Yeah. During Christopher's audition, when they show a lot of the people that played the parts that they played auditioned for other parts that other people eventually played, but then they played other parts. I would have loved for Chase to told us why they picked who for that part.
Okay, but when you're saying that, the part of Big, you saw that was the part that everybody read for that you saw.
Yes.
Who read it the best?
Big.
Yeah. What is his name, man? Because he killed it,
Right.
and he was Big. No one else could have played that after I saw that.
The actor that played on The Sopranos.
No one else could have played that part the way that he did it. He was awesome. See, I should have.
Because you keep talking series. Then
I'm gonna beat you now.
no, I doubt it. Watch this. The actor that played on The Sopranos.
Sopranos.
Adding to Tony's complicated life is his relationship with his wife Carmela, Edie Falco, which is strained by his
Edie Falco. That was Carmela. But anyway,
And you're gonna win anyway. Oh, there, Vincent Pastore.
yes.
No one else out of all those
Yes.
people could have played that part. That was the best. But who did you think was the closest Tony from the people that you?
Nobody.
No, the guy who played his boss earlier, the blonde dude.
his boss earlier.
Who plays Tony's boss in the early episodes? The one who dies of cancer.
Oh, that dude, who's also in one of my favorite movies, Rounders.
I'm trying to find him in this thing.
Yeah.
Dude, his Tony was good. Not as good as Gandolfini's, but it was a good Tony.
I could see him doing Tony.
It was a good Tony.
But dude, after you seen Gandolfini, that's one of those. Yo, he was born to play that role.
After the second time he did it.
Why you keep saying the second time?
Well, because the first
after the second audition, you mean?
Yeah. The first audition was he came in. And
but they didn't show you the first audition.
No.
He just told you.
No. They show him speaking for about a sentence, and then you hear it's not the voice. It's not. It doesn't have that same vibe. And then he gets up, and then he goes, "I'll come back if you want me to." And then he comes back, and you see him play, and it's like that is the
right, dude. And I gotta say, man, I really noticed this. Don't worry about that guy.
No, but I wanted to say Steven Van Zandt. I couldn't imagine it with him.
Nah, terrible.
No, interesting, but not the same. But not the same. But not the same.
Listen, James Gandolfini, for what Tony and who Tony is, if a person was the right animal, like literally an animal, to be in the part, he's a bulldog. He's got the big head. He's got the big body. Picture a bulldog with a lit cigar in his mouth. That's Tony.
Yeah, and I think you're right. The size of him was needed.
Yeah. But what's so interesting, I'm telling you, this is the part that blows me away. And I've said this on the pod. Yo, James Gandolfini's speaking voice. I'm so used to fuck a Janet, that voice. I'm like, it's the writing. It's David Chase. Oh, the writing's very good. I'm like, Jesus, it's almost like he's doing an impression. It's so crazy. But this is what I noticed. On the first, I would say 2 seasons of The Sopranos, he had but it was deeper. It was more like, if you look at Uncle Joe, he's content. All the other guys in the mob bushes. By season 4, all right, Jadish, you got more of this. It's a little bit higher. But in the first 2, all the guys are going over to Hardy Bogles. Trust me, I've been walking in the walls all week. And then he changed it a little bit. You got more like, more like that.
It does. It moves around. But do you think? I'm just asking this as an actor. Do you think that Gandolfini got up, he heard it, the cadence and the rhythm, the forcefulness wasn't there. He called up someone that he knows from Jersey, that's kind of more in that, not necessarily in that field, but a businessman or somebody that had that gruffness to him.
Right.
Said, "Talk to me."
I think he, in terms of looking for the evolution of the character, that was part of it for him. Now, I would like to dive into his mind and ask him, if he was still here and I could, what made you go there? Because there's such a distinction between the first 2 seasons' voice and then 4th and beyond, or 3 and beyond. So is that part of your evolution of the character? He needed to sound more like an Italian, if that's Italian, versus we'll go to the walls all week, Christopher Show. What made him change?
Well, I don't. Maybe conversations with other. I think you have a conversation with someone that you know that's connected in some kind of way to an aggressive business. Let me put it that way. That's part of it. The one thing that they didn't say, and you're talking about the evolution of the character, in the first episode, he's wearing shorts, and a gangster called and said,
a Don never wears shorts. Yeah,
that's out. And I love it because I live in Hoboken, which is Italian, especially old Italians.
Yeah.
And there's right across from me. There's I don't want to say home, but like the thing that his mom was in.
Right.
It's this apartment building for seniors. And there's this one old guy that hangs out in the corner. He has a wheelchair, but he can walk, but he has, he's not sturdy. So he has this wheelchair. He sits out every day with his little radio, listening to games or whatever is on the radio, in a collared shirt, a knit collared shirt, and black slacks and loafers every single day with his silk socks. Every single day, he's just sitting out there, so when I heard that, I wish they would have put that in there, but that's true. These guys don't ever wear shorts.
But you know what? I think part of that, and I could be wrong, this is just me guessing, I think part of that, though, is because it's in Jersey. It's the suburbs.
Yeah.
Because I like when Chase said, Martin Scorsese said he hated the show.
Yeah, I love that.
He goes, I don't get it. All the trees and the woods and the waterfalls and the industry. He goes, every gangster film has always been set in New York, Brooklyn in particular. And I go, hey, man, Jersey, when you're surrounded, and especially in that area, Caldwell, or a lot of parts of Jersey, forests, trees, it's not the city. So you're more relaxed. You're more prone to wear shorts. You know what I mean?
Well, the gangster that called him, he lived in Jersey, so it was a Jersey guy. I love that thing from Scorsese because when I first went to New York and I was in it was in the 80s, and I went and I said one of the things I liked about New York, and I have bad allergies and I have sinus problems, and I said I love that they contained all the foliage. I love that in New York the foliage is contained. It's either in boxes on the window seals, or they put it in one park.
Right.
And I love that about it. And the rest of it was concrete. And that's so I understood Scorsese's thought process is looking at how gangster stuff happens. And when you go back and you look at the old 20s kind of film, it's in the city. Obviously, they're not showing what's going on.
Right.
They're just burying everybody in Jersey.
Well, I like when Chase said, even as Scorsese says that, he goes, I lived in Jersey, and there was mob in Jersey, and where the area I live, not too far away, a guy got blown up in his car, in his garage. So, mob pops off in Jersey.
Well, and in The Sopranos, I love it. Even one of the mob bosses that is in New York, his wife wants a backyard and more space, and so they moved to Jersey.
Yeah.
That's one you're going to be sticking your beak in my business.
Right.
That's it. That's really what it is. It's Jersey and New York are so connected, but one is farmland with a little bit of city life and a lot of woods, and the other one is the city.
One is the main sibling, and the other is the cousin.
Yeah.
Fucking New York is a big
But
boss.
they're all
Jersey's a fucking cousin.
But they're all connected. It's connected.
Right. I wanted to ask you this question because they were talking about the girl that plays Adriana, and she said that it was intimidating for her to work with Lorraine Bracco because she goes, that's Karen from Goodfellas. And I wanted to ask you, dude, is there an actor that if you had the opportunity to work with them would intimidate you? I'm telling you right now, for me, it's De Niro and Denzel. And I wrote, for some strange reason, as much as I would like to work with Pacino, I don't think he would intimidate me. But Denzel and De Niro would intimidate me.
They're great actors. So would I be intimidated? Maybe.
Yeah.
As far as their greatness, but I really wouldn't be intimidated because I know what level that they're on and I know where I'm at. I'd be excited to meet them, see them, but would I be intimidated? I don't know because I know that I'm functioning in a different spot.
Right.
I think I would be more intimidated to work with like Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Because I don't understand him.
So it wouldn't be would it be from I wonder if my comedy can match his comedy?
My comedy, will he find me interesting? I know De Niro's not going to like me. He doesn't care about me. I know that Pacino isn't. But like, I want Bill Murray to like me. I think that's where you want someone to like you, so then you get a little intimidated by their abilities. I think I'd be more intimidated by someone like that. I know that De Niro and I aren't going to hang out afterwards. I know that my goal is if I had to do lines with De Niro is not to anything up and stay out of his way. That's my goal. Right? It's not to go. I think that De Niro, after I read, is going to go. That's an actor right there. I don't even think they.
Yo, nah. Yo, right.
I don't think that's in the. And I'm not trying to. They're a little. They're just at a level that I don't think that I'm going to pierce into that they're going to notice. So, and maybe I'm wrong.
Get your dick up, nigga. It's confidence.
It's not
Pin
just
your
about my
shoulders
confidence. It's about where they are, and I think people get to a certain place and they're not paying attention to that. They want someone that doesn't up their.
I would want anything more than for Denzel to acknowledge, hey man, you brought it in that scene. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, if I'm hired, I don't need his approval. They hired me. So I'm good enough. But come on, man, I'm playing ball with Jordan, man. Like, you know what I mean? I want him to go nice pass. Or point at me and like, all right, nigga, I want that. You know?
You know what honestly I think if I was doing a scene with someone and they went and walked away, that would be enough for me.
I'm good with that too.
Yeah, that's all I want.
Yeah.
Because if they gave me more of that, I would be like, they're trying to build me up. They're trying to raise my confidence so that I can match them. They don't really think I'm funny or I'm good. They just they're just trying to bring me up. That, just a little like, and walk away, don't talk to me for the rest of the day.
Like a sportsman's pat on the butt.
That's all I want.
Okay. and I know I just mentioned this because I had jumped ahead, but even more to my point, that episode where Tony, the bear, comes and Tony is in the backyard at night, looking for the bear or waiting for the bear. And Carmela goes, "You want some coffee?" "No." And then they cut to him, lit cigar, holding the AK-47. That's Tony, man.
Yeah.
Badass. That's Tony. The guy, going back to the audition process, the guy who would eventually play Artie Bucco auditioned for Tony. Couldn't be more wrong.
No.
Couldn't be more wrong. Too tiny.
Yeah, well, that's also the problem with Van Zandt.
Spears and
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. For more information
Van
on where to
Zandt
find
had
us on the
definitely-
internet, visit
definitely had the Guido
spearsbergpod.com.
look. But the size, you're right.
But it would have been a quirkier show.
Right.
It would have been quirky because he could still be. You know that you've seen him in scenes. He could say, yeah, he's out of there, but he wouldn't. The scene where Tony strangles the guy and lifts him up,
Right.
That you
No.
can't do that.
No.
That's,
And I don't buy it. I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's
Right.
the thing right there. And let's say that he could do it. I don't want Van Zandt accidentally to hear this podcast.
You mean Van Zandt or the guy to play Artie?
No, Van Zandt.
Oh, so you talking about Van Zandt doing the choke?
Yeah.
I could see him doing that,
I
not
don't
the
know,
other
but
guy.
I don't think I believe it the same way that I believe Tony
No.
did it. And not only that, when they say Tony did it and then they talk about it in the
Right.
reality of it, Tony hurt his hands. Gandolfini
right.
hurt his hands
Right.
to get into that scene. And I love talking. I love when Gandolfini's talking about the things I do for this to make this happen this
Right.
way. I don't know if you have that in there
No, I
about him
don't,
break.
no.
There's a scene where he slams the door on the refrigerator, kicks the shit out of the refrigerator, knocks the refrigerator, and breaks
Yeah.
the door off. And Gandolfini looks, the things I do for this to get into this character. And Chase goes, Tony, it just says you slammed the refrigerator door.
Right.
You did all that.
Yeah, but if we're being honest, his physical size,
Yes.
he could do that. The dude playing Artie, he's not going to
do that.
Even
But
if he
what-
slammed it 1,000 times.
But I'm just saying, you have to go there to what is this part of Gandolfini? Is that deep down? I think that the gangster, the Tony Soprano, is in every guy. It's can you?
Yeah, the fantasy is in every guy.
Do you connect though? Can you connect with that person? And do you want to connect with that person? Is it the bigger question? No one wants to be there. No one wants to.
But
be,
everybody in their every dude in their daydream wants to be Tony Soprano.
but without being a psychotic killer.
No, they want that part too.
No, most people don't want that.
They want it if they can get away with it. Listen, dude. If we could get away with it, if God Himself, even though it's a sin, said, "Hey, you could get away with this."
If someone wrongs you,
we
could kill them.
we would kill certain. And to your point, they said in the script, which is in the pilot episode, when Chris was sulking at the house.
Oh yeah.
Tony was just supposed to maybe pick him up and smack him in the face.
Yeah.
Gandolfini grabs him out of the chair and does the nose to nose. He goes, he knew who Tony was.
Yeah.
That's Tony.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, born to play that part.
But that's what happens when people meet the character that they're supposed to play. That's
like we talked about on the Power of Film episode, when destiny meets fate.
yeah.
This is a great fucking podcast, dude, because we know how to tie these ends together, nigga. I love when Chase said when they did the pilot, they tested the pilot in 4 places. Dallas, 2 other Midwestern places, and then Connecticut.
Where we are right now.
Right. It tested the highest in Connecticut. Why? Italians. It amazes me. I'm telling you, and I do this on stage. If it ain't on the Eastern Seaboard, Italians don't exist throughout the country, man. They're not really on the West Coast, and they're really limited on the Midwest. I've never met an Italian in the Midwest, and I've never ever met an Italian in the South.
Okay, I'm going to give you the South, but the Midwest, there's a lot of.
I've never met an Italian in the Midwest.
When the gangsters had to get out of the city because they were being, they went after them.
That's not the same.
Yeah,
they
no.
didn't live there.
Yeah, I know they're not from there, but they St. Louis had a huge gangster Italian place.
Really?
Area, yes. Detroit, huge gangster place.
Yeah, but we cut our fingernails.
Detroit was huge. Kansas City had gangsters. There was areas that they moved because they had to. Tucson, Arizona had gangsters.
Really?
Yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying that population is
but
next to nothing.
The stereotype really exists on the East Coast. It doesn't exist anywhere else.
Yeah.
You know, Italians move out to California to open up great Italian restaurants. They don't go out there to extort.
Okay.
They stayed back home.
Right.
And I'm not saying that to say that's all Italians. I'm saying the stereotype, that gangster stereotype.
Yeah.
That exists on the East Coast. It didn't move all the way. It didn't move. It didn't move in the way that it's the stereotype all the way out.
Yeah. And dude, I loved it. I'm telling you, this is why I'm like, yo, for me, this is the holy grail. And this is the place I'm trying to get to. Keyword is freedom. When they go, yo, and HBO left us alone. They let us do our thing. Oh my God, Annie, I'm telling you, it makes me hard. Let people, creative people, to networks, key development, whatever your title is, stay the in your goddamn office and shut the door. Leave them alone.
They didn't leave them alone. They didn't know what to do, so they let them have their sandbox.
But they could have
Yeah.
put their feet in the sandbox and up the castle.
No, what they have done now is that they hired people that know what they're doing, right? So now those people have their feet in the sandbox. The killer of creativity is hiring people that understand that think that they can manage creativity.
Yes.
That's the killer.
Yes. That's what I said,
Yeah,
yes.
because they want to control. Now HBO has a lot of money, so now we need to control costs because now we need to make more money instead of just making great
To your
product.
point, they with them later in a different way, and I'm gonna tell you, and that pisses me off just as much. Greatness is born out of freedom, man. Michael Imperioli asked the question: are people gonna watch the show? And I went. He goes, I wonder if people are going to watch the show. There's nudity, profanity, and violence. Is there a place for that on television? I went, there's always a place for that. Nudity, man-food criteria. Nudity, violence, and profanity. You can't, in sex, you don't lose with that formula.
The formula is everything you're not supposed to see. That should be the
Naughty sells.
Benny Hill and there was Benny Hill had boobs would flash on every now and then on Benny Hill. Benny Hill was this. Do you think Benny Hill was the funniest comedic show that was ever on TV?
I'm gonna be honest with you. When Benny Hill was running, I was an adolescent. And I didn't know anything about comedy. I knew them titties was out. So I did a lot of jack off.
So you
jacking
watching?
Off. Yes.
Yeah, because that's what it is. People want what they're not supposed to have. That's all. That's the bottom line. So are people going to watch? Yeah. Are the critics going to come out normally and say this is the greatest thing ever? No,
Right.
But they did on this.
Listen, man, again, naughty sells. And if you happen to have great things doing along with that, i.e. great story, plot, characters, writing, well, then you're really special. You know, it's almost like, listen, the base always has to be great writing. Like Gandolfini said, writing. Now, if you got a great base, the nudity, the profanity, the violence, the car chases, the sex, that's just the garnishes on the plate.
Well, and David Chase being from there, you got the great writing. But then you got to find the character that embodies the writing. And when he's talking about Michael Imperial's girlfriend in it,
Adriana.
And they talk about that one scene where she didn't say, it says ow, and she goes, ow!
Ow! He said she got it.
He knows that girl from the street.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what makes it work.
David Chase was such a great Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
I love when David Chase was like, he wasn't really sure at some point if The Sopranos was a drama or a comedy. And I went, it's a drama, but the comedy elements, were so funny. Listen, man, I think Italians are very unintentionally funny. I don't think they try to be funny, but there's such characters that it's funny.
Let me ask you a question a different way. Because and this is what I think the reality is. Is life a comedy or a drama?
Both.
So why wouldn't something that reflected a show be both?
Right, but if it leaned more towards comedy than dramatic, that's a different show.
But I think Sopranos did it the way what life is. Life is a drama with a lot of tragedy, with just enough comedy to get us through it.
Right.
That's what that show is.
Yeah. And listen, a lot of unintentionally funny moments came from Paulie Gaultieri, which, I know this is a fictional character, but some of the things he would say, like when he mispronounced, they're all sitting in the bada bing talking, and he goes, "You got to read that book, Art of War, by Sun Tzu." And Sil gets mad and goes, "Sun Tzu, Sun Tzu." But again, we all know somebody like that.
Yeah. Yeah, what did he do it intentionally, or was it something that was written into the script?
Right.
I mean, maybe it was the first time it was written right, and the second, I don't know. It's just that Paulie. They talked about Paulie just doing some weird shit anyway, because
Right.
he's kind of an. They talked about his hair and the
Yeah.
way that he didn't have a hair person. That hair he did it.
Yeah.
He would get up extra couple hours early so that he did it the way that he does it.
I love when the guy said in the Pine Barrens episode, they were like, and he says they show a scene of Paulie at the manicurist, and he goes, "Yeah, give me the satin finish," and he goes, "That dude was really like that. He dressed, his nails, his hair," and he goes, for the Pine Barrens episode, it's the first time we see him totally unhinged and not perfect given what the circumstance was. He goes, "I was trying to tell Tony, listen, let me up your hair a little bit." He goes, he just barely it up himself. And he goes, "Tony, come on. You're in the woods. There's a situation." He goes, "All right." And he really it up, and he goes, "You better get this on camera quick before I change my mind." And that is one of the most beloved episodes. That episode does not, I don't feel that way about that episode that most people do, except I forgot that's also when Gloria throws the steak at Tony's head.
Yeah, and that's the line that you've said it on this podcast a few times.
Oh, that's sexy when she goes, "Well, she wouldn't do it. I slapped the out of her." "Oh, really? Did you really hear that?" Let me tell you something, man.
That was probably one of the greatest delivered lines.
Annabelle Sciorra is her real name, and I first saw her in Jungle Fever with Wesley Snipes.
And she was also on Law and Order.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Her character is so psychotically sexy. Like that moment she comes on the Stugatz, Tony's boat. Tony's not there. He went to the store or something. She bought him a present, and the phone rings on the boat, and she did the most don't you ever violation of man code. She answers the phone, but that's part of her crazy. And then when it was Tony's Russian girlfriend, and she goes, "Oh, Tony's not here," she hangs up. Tony comes on the boat, and he goes, "Some woman called." He goes, "Yeah, it was AJ's teacher, blah, blah, blah." And she knows it's long story short, they get into a little bit of an argument about it, and as she's leaving, she takes the present and throws it out the window into the water. And the red flags were there the whole time. But, she crossed the line when she gave his wife a ride home, and that's when Tony broke it off. But, man, that is sexy to me.
There's little parts in there that do bother me. The fact that she answered his phone,
Yeah.
and he didn't have a problem with it, and he covered up the fact that it was his.
With the lie.
He wouldn't lie. He would have said, "That's such and such," and why do you think you get to answer my phone?
I hear you, but he did what most men do on the spot.
When they're caught, when they feel like they're caught.
We lie because we care more about not wanting to hurt your feelings that was another broad.
You care more about not getting the than you care about.
Who, me personally?
No.
Well, no, he's going to get the he knows that.
But he doesn't want to it up.
He doesn't want to, I don't think that's it. He just does. As most men, we don't want to hurt your feelings.
Okay.
The going to be there. We don't want to hurt your feelings. Because even if you're mad, that's temporary.
Yeah, and it sometimes even makes it better.
Yes.
So
angry come with a clinch that is, you know what I mean? Like they clinch it not to kill you, but to choke you and hurt you a little bit, and they release you. That's good.
It's I still think that the reaction was not Tony. That was my only problem with that.
Yeah. I like the moment where Edie Falco, and just for the record, we're on to Wise Guys Part 2 now.
This is going to be a long podcast.
Oh, what the fuck? Just get
you know what? You want to do this?
We have to.
Because we can put this. We can put Part 2 on next Wednesday.
No. Let's knock this out. Let's be done with it.
All right.
Let's knock it out.
All right.
But we allotted for time. We started at 2:30, so we got time.
I know. I'm just saying people don't listen necessarily the whole time.
I know, but this is a good one.
Okay. And we might not get people to listen to the whole good thing because of it. But go on.
I disagree with you adamantly. Listen, when I read, and this is why I do the homework, when I read the YouTube comments, listen, there are times when we do a podcast and I go, that wasn't that good. That wasn't a good one. Not that I'm going off people's opinions, but I'm going off somewhat feedback, game tape. And people go, yo, that episode was all right. That was one of the weakest ones. This ain't that.
I know.
So I'm going to put stock in this. But we don't have more that far to go anyway.
Okay.
I love when Edie Falco said, she talked about the episode where Ralph beat the stripper to death and basically said that as graphic and as violent as that was, and as much as it may have jarred people, that's the truth of life. Life can be that way, so you can't run from it even if it makes you uncomfortable. And my question was, why nowadays are people so wanting to avoid the truth? Because we just said, could they do that today? Probably wouldn't. Probably can't. But if that's truth and that's life, why are we running to avoid that?
Well, I don't know why we're running to avoid it, but even more to what she was saying is, how are you not going to dislike this guy if they present all the good things, all the
Right.
fun things?
Right.
He's a ride, but he can get a little angry. No, he can kill somebody. You have to understand that the guy that you think is kind of funny and quirky also is psychotic and will kill a because he felt disrespected. We wouldn't dislike these people if we don't give them the whole character. And you have to. There's a moment where you're liking these guys so much, and then they do something like that, and you go, "Wait a minute." And we were talking about this earlier. Every guy wants to be that guy. No one wants to be the guy that just one person, a 22. How old was she supposed to be? Like 22, the same age of Meadow. And that was the balance that you see Meadow,
Right.
and she's doing her things, and he beats her to death.
Right.
So we don't want to see ourselves as that. I mean, like we were talking earlier. Yeah, we want to see ourselves as a tough guy, a guy who can do the. But do you want us to be seen as that? No one wants to be seen as that.
And you know what? Listen, as sick as the idea may be, we know from moments in real life. What's my man, the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez. He had a fan club, women. He had a fan club. Dahmer had a fan club. Now that's sick and going to the extreme. While this may be fiction, I can't help but believe there aren't women out there who weren't turned on by Ralph's character.
Well, of course there's people that get turned on by it because people. I hate to say this about people, but this is the truth. If he loves somebody, Ralph, the Ralph character, loves somebody, he doesn't beat them and kill them. So that must mean he really loves me. Because he didn't.
To the person that's like not being beaten.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
But that person doesn't know that that's who Ralph is.
But they love me. They would never do that to me. That's the fans of that. The idea of that is like
Right.
he would never do that to me because I'm another level. I mean, it's like the Tony's wife, Carmela. Tony's he's pulled back.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna never. He's not gonna hurt Carmela.
No.
But he'll kill her. He'll kill other people.
Yeah.
So-
but they see that as the holy grail. That's the mother of my children.
But what I'm saying is that's how women see those guys. I'm going to be the one that they love, that they would never hurt, that they would never touch.
That's a
because-
dice roll. Unless you that woman.
That's-
Unless you are that woman, you're thinking ahead.
But that's what they feel. That's what they feel. I'm that.
But you don't think that there's a hinge, a little bit of turn on at the idea that
That he's that close and can take me out?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
that's crazy. That's crazy. I maybe not be crazy because I'm sitting here telling you I'm turned on by Gloria. Did you really hear that? What I want any woman, and listen, let me be honest with you. That was my wife, nigga. She was that. Would answer the phone. Would want to know who I'm. She was that, and I had 2 kids with her. So, maybe I'm that sick woman.
But there's a difference because crazy women, not all crazy women,
Right.
but crazy women, sex is better with crazy women. I'm just going to say it like that. Crazy women are fun. Crazy women make it.
fun till they boil the bunny.
Exactly. That's the dance, though, isn't it? Because crazy women go to another level.
Right.
Take you to another level. Make it extreme. But there's a point where sometimes you go, like, yeah, I like this. Oh, it's fun to on the edge of a roof and and know that you might make the wrong step and fall down.
The wrong pump.
Yeah, but sometimes you want to have nice sex and go to sleep and know that you're going to wake up with someone that's not going to stab you in the middle of the night.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that sex either.
Right. I like that. Sex on the roof. And dude, this again to the brilliance of Chase and the way he thinks. He goes on the characters. He's basically saying, as far as all the characters go, everybody's making a deal with the devil. But if Tony is the devil, he's really making a deal with himself. He's the devil's representative.
Yeah.
Damn. Oof, Chase is mine, man. And he also said, Tony, I know Tony's a loving father, but he's in the mob. He's a killer. He's a cheater. He's violent. And his worry was, will people be turned off to that? And I got to tell you, man, that never turned me off. I was never bothered by any of that.
If it's all in us a little bit, that we want that revenge. We want the revenge. We don't all get it. We want it when we're wrong. We want every one of us. So to see someone get it and to see what choices that is, I think it's entertaining. I think it's there's some relief in there. We also like to see that some things don't work out when you get your revenge, but it didn't work out for you, or it caused some other problems, or causes another situation, or more anxiety, or some. We want to know what that outcome is, and I think these characters allow us to see that.
Right. At one point, now going back about how they don't f with you, and then I went, but then they f with you. So the show becomes a major hit. It's running for some time. They're renegotiating Gandolfini's contract. They didn't pay him what he felt he deserved, so he kind of held out. And this is twofold. One, I'm going, and this is where I get angry. The man is just giving you David Chase, but he's the star, James. And they said it at the time for the 90s. This was groundbreaking. It was on the cover of Time magazine. This man has just changed the game for your entire network. Why are you not wanting to pay him? Break bread. And this is the part of the industry that makes me go scream like, really? He's giving you a groundbreaking show. You're on the cover of Time. This is your hugest hit. You don't want to make this man happy? What are you holding out for? What is the problem? So then they eventually give him $1 million an episode. And because the other actors weren't able to work because of the holdout, he gives them each a check for $30,000. How cool is that?
Except for Edie Falco.
Well, I don't know if she was being sarcastic. Did she mean that?
Yeah, I think she meant it. But she probably got paid more because she was the lead. She was the other lead.
Yeah.
So he probably took care of the people that weren't making as much. And they felt it not getting as much.
Right. They just can't. I don't understand the way these assholes think.
Well, it's
not like you don't have the money. You are HBO. You have the bread. Is it going to kill you to give the man what he wants?
Well, if you want to be in this business, you want to make more shows, and you got to spend more money. And now every actor thinks he's worth $1 million an episode. You're setting a precedent.
Yeah, but you know who the golden goose is.
I am not disagreeing with you. I'm just giving you the other side.
They try to control the inmates.
Yeah,
that's horrible, man.
But I think that there's an easier way to do the deal because you're not going to kill the show, and he knows you're not going to kill the show.
So then, what are we playing this game for? If we know you're not going to kill the show, what are we playing this game for, HBO?
No, and if Tony gets to if Gandolfini walks away, there's better said by this. Who's George Costanza? What's his name?
Jason Alexander.
Jason Alexander. Jason Alexander said, when they all wanted to get $1 million a show. And what Jason Alexander said is, my career is going to be based on this character for the rest of my life now.
You one and done.
So I need to make as much money as I can because this is how everybody's going to see me. I have to work 100 times harder to do anything else after this.
Right. And he really ain't doing.
No, so so he got paid. That was it. That's the truth. Once you get typecast, And James Gandolfini did something really smart, and I don't know if it was intentional, but to have the voice that you're talking about,
Yeah.
he could walk away from that a little bit because put the beard on, do whatever he wants, and now then a different voice is coming out of that guy,
Right.
and it's his real voice that's coming out of him. You could get away with it a little bit.
Well, I forget the name of the movie, but he did that movie Killing Him something, where Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
And he had like a goatee.
And with his regular voice.
With his regular voice. And then he did another movie, which I love, with Tom Hardy called The Drop. Have you ever seen The Drop?
Yeah. No, I haven't seen
And
it.
you got to see The Drop. It's him and Tom Hardy. That movie, you got to see.
What's
The
that
Drop.
Travolta movie that I like that I talk? He's in that.
Pelham 1, 2, 3.
No, yeah, that one. But
he's in another one?
Yeah, he's the one that I like.
Oh,
a lot.
I know the one.
Get Shorty.
Get Shorty. Right.
He plays the stunt man in it.
Yeah, and he's also in Pelham 1, 2, 3
So,
with
yep,
Denzel and Travolta.
Yeah.
So yeah,
5 movies with Travolta. They said
5 really
4 or 5. You didn't hear that scene
No.
there? Travolta's parents and his parents grew up in Jersey together.
Really?
Travolta's parents had a tire shop. I think it's Travolta's parents. Had
I
a tire
missed
shop.
that.
Yeah, they were friends.
Right.
So he's always known Travolta, and that's how. And then they're in 5 movies together.
Oh, shit.
So I thought that was just kind of random and interesting, but
And dude, I'm gonna tell you, I'm going at the very height of the show's success. I know seeing him in person had to be jaw dropping, like because it's like, listen, man, I know Stacey King, the Chicago Bulls. He comes sees us every time we're in Schaumburg. I met B.J. Armstrong on the airplane. I saw Dennis Rodman in Chicago Airport. I called you immediately.
Yeah.
It was geeked. But I've never met the man. And I know if I ever met the man, my jaw would be on the floor. And the way I feel about The Sopranos, and I'm telling you, I remember I've met several people from The Sopranos. I was in a nightclub in New York, and I met AJ, and he was a fan and was like, dude, I love Mad TV. I met the guy who played Richie Aprile on the lot of Mad TV because he was shooting something, and that's where we shot. I met Uncle June at the Laugh Factory. I met who else? I met Steven Van Zandt outside of XM Sirius Radio because he had a show,
yeah.
a podcast. But I never met the man. And I went, dude, if I ever saw Gandolfini, my jaw would hit the floor. I know that had to be jaw-dropping. And like Jordan, the intimidating thing for me about Gandolfini, from what I've seen in some of the paparazzi clips, if you piss him off, he'll take it to you. Like, he will grab you and take it to you if you cross the line. Not that I would cross the line, but I wouldn't want to be shunned by my hero.
well, they say he's so nice, but that would get on his nerves.
Right.
So
I got 2 more notes and then we're out of here.
okay.
I said I did not know until seeing this documentary that HBO see, here we go again. HBO, to avoid giving the cast members a raise,
Oh yeah.
didn't call it season 7. They broke it up and called it season 6A and season 6B. And I wrote, this again takes me to Chris Rock's joke when he goes, show business is like that uncle that paid your way through college but molested you. Patrice O'Neal, everyone gets in line to be eaten by the beast and out, then goes back in the same line to get eaten and out again because you can make $2 million an episode. This business is gross, but that's Hollywood. It's like, you don't want to give me a raise. You want to with me. You want to penny pinch. You want to treat me like make me suffer. But you could make $2 million an episode, dude, if you get there. So it's worth the juice is worth the squeeze.
The $2 million is nice, and I'm not going to say that the money isn't the reward, but it's also courtside tickets to games,
Yep.
not waiting in line.
It's adulation. It's if you're a dude. It's groupies. It's not being told no. It's a free seat at the best restaurant. It's a lot of things that comes with this. So yeah, when you go $2 million or whatever, it don't just stop there. It's all that other. So you know what? I'll take a little diddle from my uncle. I'll sit on my uncle's lap and have him play with me a little bit. Because what I'm getting in return, it's Chris Rock's joke. He paid your way through college, but he molested you. It's bittersweet.
It's a bad deal, but with the most upside.
Yes. And the upside makes you go, the abuse is worth it.
If you got some of the good deal. There's a lot of people who never touch any of the
But
good
you
stuff.
you don't get a chance unless you roll them dice.
I'm not disagreeing with it, but that's why people play the lottery.
And listen, this is why I always go, Chris Rock don't make me laugh, but I get the brilliance.
Yeah.
When he goes, the worst job in show business is better than the best job out of it. So as I always say, I would never want to play the Nickelodeon dad. That corny, campy, this is a kid's show, so you can't say or do. I want Law and Order. I want The Sopranos. I want New York Undercover. I want the gritty, hardcore, shoot 'em up, car chase, violence. That's what wets my whistle. But if I play the Nickelodeon dad and I'm getting $70,000 a week to deliver them corny boom boom jokes, and that's life-changing money. Am I mad? Yeah, but no, but yeah, but no.
That the Nickelodeon dad does not come with courtside seats. I want courtside seats.
No, don't say that. He could.
Generally,
it depends on the show.
Generally doesn't.
Okay.
I want courtside seats. If I'm gonna go there,
if the show is big enough and you're known enough, that's the selling point.
I don't think Mr. Belding got courtside seats.
Who's Mr. Belding? Exactly. Who's Mr. Belding?
I think he was the one on what's the show with Screech when they're in high school?
Oh, Saved by the Bell. Oh, you're right. My one and only go-to dad was always, and he was a stand-up comic, Rondell Sheridan.
Yeah.
He was such a Nickelodeon, TV-friendly dad. But I like how you said that. Yeah, what was the guy's name? Mr. Belding?
Mr. Belding.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of women line up to suck Mr. Belding's dick.
No.
Mario Lopez for obvious reasons. Mark Paul Gosselaar for obvious reasons. Mr. Belding?
Well, Screech didn't get lined up.
He might have got a few.
Maybe in the day, but as it wore thin quickly. Rest his soul, man. That's a troubled story too. So.
Oh, and this is my last note, and I specifically wrote this in mind. The way they ended that doc, I know Andy got a kick out of that.
Yeah, I did.
They ended it the way they ended when they asked David Chase whatever. I forget the question they asked him, but he goes, "What?" Black screen.
Okay.
I know Andy got a kick out of that.
Yeah, because I go back to what I said. I'm telling you how the story ends, and no one wants to believe that this is it. Is David Chase still alive?
You mean
today? Is David Chase still alive? Did the screen go black?
Yes.
Who got taken out of the story?
I know you want to say we did, but when was it him that said it or somebody? I think it was somebody else that said it. They said life goes on. So when the screen went black, life goes on.
Yeah, but if Tony got killed, we would have been there. We would have seen him laying on the ground. And everybody says it's the perspective. No, the perspective was outside. The perspective was. Its screen went black because David Chase killed us off of the story. They talk about it when they're on the boat, and they said when you get hit in the back of the head, everything just goes black. We got hit in the back of the head. The story is over. We're out.
Well, I like when David Chase also said, because we don't know, you're going to watch the show again.
Yeah.
To come up
That
with
was
your
genius.
conclusion. Yeah, this is a genius, dude.
No, and we're still talking about it today.
They see what I'm saying?
And I'm arguing my point, and the reason we're talking about it today is because we were taken out. We don't know what happened to Tony. I'll tell you what happened to Holstein's. They remodeled it. They remodeled it recently.
Right. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's not even
it
what it was
like
when you took me?
Yeah, no, it doesn't look like that anymore. No. They changed. I haven't been there actually since they remodeled it. I went there and they were taking out all the benches because Holstein's. I think it's funny that's where he picked to end the series because to be honest, Holstein's. I would have seen maybe if they said, "Hey, we're going to go meet there for ice cream," but I don't see Tony going there to eat with his family. It's not. Listen, it's been up there for a long time, but it's not comfortable. They're wooden. They're wooden seats, benches.
Right.
It's not a comfortable it's not Vesuvio's. It's not anything close to that. It's like benches, and having Meadow come over and meet, and it's like this dinner. it's not really a dinner place. It's like you know, like Sloppy Joe's sandwiches. It's loose meat. I think is what.
Yeah.
So, but they have great bakery and they have great ice cream and great dessert. So that's the only thing. I thought it was weird that he picked that, but it's such an iconic look. But yeah, they changed it since I told you that.
Well, look, man. Look, so this took us an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's only half
so
an hour.
If we
I thought we were
going
gonna
to
I thought we were going to do 2.
Right. So if we would have split it up,
would
it
have
would
been
have
good.
Yeah.
But I thought we were going to end up doing 2 because, and we could have because there's other things like I
Oh,
love
I
how
couldn't have. I was done.
everybody called him Dowdy. They called David Chase Dowdy. Like I didn't know what
Dowdy?
I had to look it up, and I think it's Dowdy. Is how it was. And it means that he's so forlorn. He's just so miserable. The guy's miserable. David Chase. I love how they all talk about him.
You never saw him smile.
Never. And when he talks about talking.
Right.
The most I love when they said, I agreed to do this when I thought it was about The Sopranos. I didn't know it was going to be about me. And I love the fact that he is that guy. Yeah. And I think that's what allows his characters to be big because he keeps himself in check.
Yeah.
But, one last thing I have for you. After you watched all this and I saw it again, did you appreciate the dream sequence anymore where
Nope.
were big?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Yeah.
Dude, I just, no. Them dream sequences, that was the only thing I disliked about the show.
It
just took me out of it.
When it's Big talking to me, he goes, I've been talking to the feds.
As the fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That didn't, because you realize things in your subconscious that you're not paying attention to in real life. And the dream is telling you because your subconscious is talking to you. And I love how he made it like that. They saw it. Tony figured it out in his subconscious, not in the reality.
The only thing I got from that is that, like real dreams, and it's funny that you use the word real when it's not, but like dreams that you have, there's a weirdness to it. Him talking through the fish, that's like I told you, I had the dream that Scottie Pippen beat me up in woodshop class as he was dressed in his full Bulls uniform. Like, where would that ever happen in a million years? But that's how weird, that's what dreams are.
But everybody says dreams have hidden meanings. And so Tony was listening to his dreams and found out that, and realized that Big Pussy was an informant.
Yeah, my dreams ain't never, you know what, dude? I have to take one thing back. And this was more of a nightmare dream. Now, I told you I had that tooth distracted.
Yeah.
Dude, I had a dream about 2 days ago. All my teeth was gone. It felt so real. I woke up and went, I thought I lost all my teeth. And I woke up panicking, dude. I licked all my teeth and went, it's still there. That's what dreams are to me.
Yeah, well, your dream was telling you need to make sure you're taking good care of your teeth and stop being afraid to go to the dentist.
Well, I went.
Yeah.
All right.
All of a sudden, I thought my gums whacked all my date.
Let's give you some dates real quick. Get everybody
Folks, if you haven't seen it, man, Wise Guys.
It is really good.
It really is good. 2-part David Chase / Sopranos documentary.
There is a lot that we didn't talk about that's in there. I think it's worth seeing. Definitely worth seeing. And I got a real kick out of knowing more about David Chase that I did not know.
Yeah, definitely. And listen, I know, again, we said we're not doing an email episode tomorrow, but because I haven't done it in a while, if you do want to write into the podcast, Aries Spears 45 at Hotmail. That is the email to write in.
And the next email episode we do, I want to talk about that specifically.
What?
Your emails.
Really?
People send in you emails.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good or bad?
Good. People should send in emails.
But there's a but?
Yeah, the but is if you have a problem with something that's said on the podcast, you should write an email. That's why we open it up for you to write an email. If you think things aren't, if you think there's untruths being told on the podcast, write an email. Call me out.
Big shout out to my man Anubis7 who screenshot me. I blocked. Brandon was starting to send me emails talking shit, so I blocked him from my emails. But apparently he's still talking shit on YouTube, and Anubis got into it with him because he was starting to give you shit. And he says the same old shit. Podcast sucks, it's boring, it's this, it's that. And Anubis just basically told him, hey man, shut the up. Either stop listening and bounce or shut the up.
I love
We're
it.
tired of it.
I don't care. People think that we'll talk about it. I can't wait to have this conversation on the next email podcast. Listen, September 20th to the 21st, we're going to be at the Improv in Kansas City. My birthday is the 21st. Come on out. It's going to be fun. September 26th to the 29th, Tommy T's in Pleasanton, California. That's up there in the Bay Area. Well, not really the Bay, but it's Bay adjacent. October 4th, Royal Oak Music Theater in Royal Oak, Michigan, one night only. October 5th, the Apollo Theater in New York City, one night only. October 11th through the 13th, the Improv in Orlando, Florida. October 17th, Vancouver Playhouse in Vancouver, British Columbia, one night only. October 18th to the 20th, Spokane Comedy Club. That's 18th to the 20th. We haven't been there in a minute, so that's going to be
Which
fun.
one?
Spokane.
I like Spokane.
I do.
But that room, though.
I know it's different, but it's still. I like the people were interesting last time we were out there. October 25th to the 27th. I mean, interesting in a good way, not interesting in a weird way. They kind of were. They got comedy. They were having fun with comedy. October 18th to the 25th. October 25th to the 27th. Sorry, Tampa, Florida. October 31st through November 3rd, the Chicago Improv in Schaumburg. Excited to be back in Chicago. Going to go spend an extra day with
Sweet home, Chicago.
Yeah, my boy Dave moved out there, and I'm going to go hang out with him for a day. November 8th, Hawaii Theater in Honolulu. That's one night only. November 15th through the 17th in West Nyack, Levity Live, obviously in West Nyack, New York. November 21st to the 24th, the Improv in Orlando, California. November 29th, Texas Trust CU Theater in Grand Prairie, Texas. One night only. December 13th to the 15th, Raleigh Improv in Cary, but in Raleigh. We'll see you there in North Carolina. December 19th to the 22nd, Helium Comedy Club in, that's in Philly. I can't wait to be back there. That's December 19th. It's going to be cold. Hey.
Yeah.
You don't want to run up those steps? Come on, we can record that.
In the cold?
Yeah, with our sweats on, we'll drink some. We'll film us drinking the eggs and then running up the steps.
That's funny. I'd rather drink the eggs than run up the steps.
You drink the eggs, I'll run up the steps.
Bet.
Okay. That's going to be cold, too. December 19th to the 22nd, Helium in Philly, we're out there. December 27th, Pikes Peak Center for the Performing Arts in Colorado Springs. And December 28th, the Paramount in Denver, Colorado.
There it is.
That's it. That's the show? Hey, Tony, you want to get something to eat?
Of course I do. Matter of fact, I want to go down to Artie's to the Bocos. Get the man I got with the...
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit spearsburgpod.com.